Have you ever noticed something paradoxical? The people who are always available, always answering, always helping, always explaining, are often the ones taken the least seriously. It's not because they lack competence, and it's not because they aren't kind. It's because constant availability quietly erodes perceived value. And most people never even realize it's happening. Modern culture praises accessibility. We're taught that being responsive equals being professional, that saying yes equals being kind, that availability equals reliability. But human perception works very differently. Psychologically, our brains associate scarcity with value. Think about it. What's always present just becomes background noise. But what's rare, that commands our attention. When you're permanently reachable, your presence starts to lose its contrast. You just blend in. Now, how does this over-responsiveness turn respect into expectation? At first, your fast replies feel generous. People really appreciate them. But over time, that appreciation morphs into expectation. If you answer instantly every single time, your response becomes assumed. Your effort becomes invisible. And suddenly, your absence, even for a short time, feels offensive. Where were you? They might ask. What once looked like goodwill slowly turns into a heavy obligation. This isn't because people are malicious. It's because the human brain adapts incredibly quickly to patterns. Let's dive into the psychological mechanism behind this devaluation. The mind doesn't really evaluate your effort. It evaluates patterns. When your availability seems to have no cost, it sends a few unconscious signals. Maybe you have low boundaries. Maybe you're highly dependent on others' approval, or you have unclear self-prioritization. And without even thinking about it, other people adjust their behavior. They might start listening less, demanding more, and ultimately respecting less. This isn't an intentional act, it's mechanical. It's just how we're wired. This brings us to a crucial distinction that most people never learn: the difference between presence and availability. Availability means you're always accessible, like a 24/7 convenience store. Presence means your words, your actions, and even your silence carry weight. Presence is felt. Availability is consumed. One builds your authority and influence. The other slowly dissolves it. So, what's the first shift you need to make? You don't need to disappear. You don't need to become cold or distant. You only need to stop being so predictable. Introducing selective presence restores a sense of gravity to your role, whether that's professionally, socially, or emotionally. It makes people value your input when they get it. Think about the most respected person you know. Are they available 24/7? Or is their time and attention seen as a valuable resource? The goal isn't to play games or manipulate people. It's about re-establishing the natural value of your time, your energy, and your focus. Start by introducing small, intentional delays. Don't reply to every email the second it lands in your inbox. Let some calls go to voicemail. Create specific blocks of time where you are unreachable because you're focused on deep work. At first, it might feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to being the always-on person. But soon, you'll notice a change. When you do engage, be fully present. Give your undivided attention. Your contributions will start to land with more impact because they are no longer part of a constant, unending stream. People will listen more closely. They will value your perspective more deeply. You'll shift from being just available to being truly present. And that shift is where your real influence lies. It's not about being less helpful. It's about being more effective. Your time is valuable. Your energy is finite. Start treating it that way, and you'll be amazed at how others follow your lead. Thanks so much for watching. If this idea resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more insights on how to navigate the psychology of modern life. Do you think of yourself as a kind person? Most of us do. But what if I told you that for many, what looks like kindness is actually a negotiation for safety? A negotiation that, over time, can completely empty you out. Let's talk about when kindness turns into self-erasure. There's a huge difference between genuine empathy and self-abandonment. Empathy is a choice you make, a conscious act of understanding. Self-abandonment, on the other hand, is an automatic reflex. If you're a people pleaser, you probably say yes, not because you truly want to, but because saying no feels terrifyingly dangerous. This pattern almost always starts in childhood. Maybe conflict at home felt unsafe. Maybe you learned that earning approval was the only way to feel secure. Harmony became your survival strategy. And even if you don't consciously remember it, your nervous system does. It's wired to avoid conflict at all costs. Psychologists have a name for this: the fawn response. It's a stress reaction, just like fight or flight. But instead of confronting or running from a threat, you try to appease it. On the outside, you look calm, responsible, and helpful. You're the one who always keeps the peace. But internally, this creates a state of chronic, low-grade tension. Your body is constantly on high alert, trying to manage everyone else's feelings. The cost of this doesn't show up right away. It accumulates over time, and then it hits you. Emotional exhaustion, a deep-seated resentment you can't explain, constant anxiety, and a feeling that you've completely lost your own sense of direction. We often think burnout is just about working too hard. But the truth is, burnout is caused by working without boundaries. It's the emotional labor of constantly managing others that truly drains us. And here's something you might have noticed. People pleasers often attract unhealthy dynamics. Think about it. When you never push back, when you never say no, what happens? The demands on you increase. People's expectations of you inflate. And paradoxically, their respect for you can diminish. This isn't usually because people are intentionally cruel. It's because unprotected energy invites overuse. You are literally teaching people how to treat you by showing them what you are willing to tolerate. But the most dangerous part of people-pleasing isn't the exhaustion. It's the disconnection from yourself. Over time, you slowly stop knowing what you truly want, what you genuinely feel, or what you actually need. Your own inner compass, your intuition, gets replaced by a constant monitoring of external reactions. Your life becomes a series of responses to other people, rather than a series of choices you make for yourself. You're living on autopilot, guided by fear. So, how do you break this cycle? Here's the turning point. You don't fix this by trying to explain yourself more, or by getting people to understand why you need to change. You fix it by changing your behavior, not by changing your narrative. Boundaries don't require long speeches or dramatic confrontations. They just require consistency. The first no will feel scary. The 10th will feel easier. The 100th will feel normal. Each small act of choosing yourself, of honoring your own needs, begins to rewire your brain. It also rewires the expectations of those around you. You start to reclaim your energy, your voice, and your life. It's not about becoming less kind. It's about directing that kindness toward yourself first. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments. In a world where everyone reacts instantly, the person who pauses becomes powerful, not louder, not more aggressive, just centered. What if I told you that the secret to real authority isn't about what you say, but when you choose not to say anything at all? Let's explore how strategic silence can completely transform your personal power. Silence is often mistaken for weakness or passivity, but in reality, strategic silence is a superpower. It communicates confidence, emotional regulation, and deep self-trust. It's a quiet force that completely disrupts manipulation. Think about it. When someone tries to provoke you or put you under emotional pressure, they're expecting a reaction. Your immediate response is the fuel they need. But when you don't react right away, when you just pause, their entire strategy falls apart. That pressure loses its leverage. Those provocations lose their fire. In that moment, the dynamic shifts. You're no longer a participant in their game. You're an observer. Silence creates space, and that space is where you reclaim your control. Now let's talk about boundary. We're often taught that we need to explain and justify our boundaries to others. But the most effective boundaries are simply lived, not announced. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you respond to a text later, why you decline an invitation, or why you choose to disengage from a draining conversation. People don't learn from your lectures. They learn from your patterns. Your consistent actions teach them how to treat you far more effectively than any long-winded explanation ever could. So, stop arguing and start living your boundaries. Consistency is the most powerful teacher. It's crucial to understand the difference between self-control and suppression. They might look similar on the outside, but internally, they're worlds apart. True self-control means you feel the emotion fully. You acknowledge it, you sit with it, and then you consciously choose when and how to act on it. It's a process of integration. Suppression, on the other hand, is pretending the emotion isn't there. You bottle it up, push it down, and accumulate emotional pressure until one day you inevitably explode. One builds inner strength and resilience. The other just builds an emotional debt that will eventually come due. This brings us to the simple yet transformative power of saying no. A well-placed no is a tool for self-preservation. It filters out requests that drain you. It clarifies what you truly value. and it protects your precious energy. Every time you say a forced yes, you're committing a small betrayal against yourself and your own needs. And believe it or not, people can feel that lack of authenticity, even if they benefit from your yes. Paradoxically, the people who know how to say no when it matters are often respected far more. Their time and energy are seen as valuable because they treat it that way themselves. Ultimately, this is a journey from reactivity to authority. Constant reactivity hands your personal power over to other people and external events, but conscious choice reclaims it. When you make a habit of pausing before you respond, you break free from those automatic neg-erg patterns. You step out of the role of a reactor and into the role of the author of your own life. True leadership in your career, in your relationships, and in your life isn't about being constantly engaged and available. It's about being selectively and intentionally engaged. This idea of healthy unavailability isn't about withdrawing from the world or being cold. It's self-respect in action. When you practice this, you stop attracting relationships built on neediness and convenience, and you start building genuine connections based on mutual choice and respect. But the most profound shift happens internally. You stop measuring your self-worth by how accessible you are to everyone else, and you start anchoring it in your intrinsic value. You are not here to be endlessly available. You are here to be intentional, grounded, and selective, because what you protect begins to matter. Thanks for watching, and if this resonated with you, be sure to subscribe for more content on building a powerful and intentional life. If you're still here, still watching my videos, I just want to say something simple. Thank you. In this world of endless noise and constant distractions, the fact that you choose to spend your time here with me means more than you can possibly imagine. It means you're one of those rare people who wants to go deeper, who wants to question things, and who looks for answers inside yourself, not just on the surface. I am honestly so happy that there are people like you who share these interests, these questions, and this search for meaning. So, if you feel like this space resonates with you, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and maybe share this video with someone you know who might need it. Your support helps this content reach more people who are also quietly searching. Thank you for being here, really.